Well, hello. How are you? Welcome to Drawing with Reverend Geek, and my name is David Neal. Thank you so much for joining me today. And let's see, what's on the agenda today? I think we're going to do some drawing around a drawing challenge put out by Let's Sketch Tech. If you're not familiar with the Twitter account Let's Sketch Tech, follow them. They if you're involved with technology at all, it's a great channel or a great um, account to follow. They tweet about um, sketch notes and doodling in technology, and lots of folks who, like me, have a passion for both art and technology follow this account. Earlier this year, they did um, a series of workshops and um, an event, kind of like an online conference where they had lots of presenters talking about different topics. It was really fantastic. Learned a lot. Came away really pumped up and energized, having learned some new things and about drawing and doodling and sketchnoting, and with different ideas to try. And the workshops were fantastic. Um, so today, see if I can find that original tweet that I was thinking of. Um, so the challenge that Let's Sketch Tech put out was a tech doodle of the month, and for July, the challenge is bugs. And let's see. So to create your tech doodle for July, here are the requirements or the instructions. So pick a type of software bug. As we all know, there are all kinds of software bugs, and there are a few types are user interface bugs, security bugs, performance, Heisen bugs, data, error handling, syntax, and more. So what kind of literal bug represents your software bug? Is it a spider with lots of legs, weaving a web of software chaos and confusion? Yes, we know that technically spiders are not insects, but let's just go with it. Maybe your bug is a long millipede or a sparky lightning bug. It's also totally okay to make up your own imaginary bug that is a combination of some different bugs and creatures. Draw your bug or bugs. Remember, this is not about art. We're not looking for a masterpiece to put in a Hall of Fame. What you can draw today is totally enough. And 4, include a little bit of a backstory. Tech doodles are always more interesting when you share why you made them and why you made the choices you did. It doesn't have to be a blog. A sentence or two is perfectly acceptable. Include the tech doodle hashtag in your drawing and share it on your favorite social, and with a friend. Maybe get the friend to sign up for Tech Doodle Club too. All right. So that's the goal, is to create a tech doodle of a software bug. All right. So now I've got the chat open, and Sean says object reference is not set to an instance of an object. Very old exception that still plagues us today. Absolutely. I've seen a lot of those error messages over the years. Or in the JavaScript world, undefined is not a function, or null is not a function, or undefined is not an object. Those are always fun. So yeah, there's lots of different types of bugs. I thought that maybe just, instead of, um, yeah, never in my code, of course, right? I thought it might be fun to create something cute and silly that is, let's see, I'm gonna, maybe not a particular kind of bug, but the the thing that came to mind when I thought about this challenge was the joke that it's not a bug, it's a feature. And so I thought I would draw some kind of bug that may be looking a little anxious or something, and trying to plead a case for I'm not a bug, I'm a feature. Um, it, that's just an idea that I had. We'll see if that works out, kind of what I have pictured in my head or not. Um, let's see. Anything going on before we get into drawing? Anything, folks that are watching, want to comment on, or ideas that any other ideas that you may have for this drawing? And of course, you can, as I'm drawing, you can coach me along, and um, certainly post any comments or questions or anything that I might be able to answer. All right. Well, I say let's start drawing then. I'll switch my camera over to my iPad. And you've seen this before. I'm wearing, I remember to wear my glove today, so I'll have a little less frustration sometimes with accidentally undoing a stroke or something. And, the glove kind of helps. Glove also helps with me just sliding around on the screen. Sometimes my bare hand kind of grips the screen a little bit too much and creates a little bit too much friction. So, that helps too. All right, I've got my Twitch category up here. Oh, just a little shameless plug. I draw avatars for people. And last week I had fun drawing Animal Crossing style avatars. I decided to add that as an option to the avatars that I sell. If you're interested in any type of avatar, if it's one of my regular ones that I do, or if you're interested in a Animal Crossing style avatar, I've got those for sale now on my website. And the Animal Crossing style avatars are currently $30. So I think it's pretty good bang for the buck. I'm trying to keep the prices low to folks that are interested in giving that a shot. So a lot of fun to do. All right. So I'm going to borrow from this Animal Crossing kick that I've been on and create a drawing that may be somewhat inspired by Animal Crossing. And I'm going to use a technique that I've talked about and demonstrated a couple of weeks ago on the stream of using symmetry. Symmetry is a really powerful tool, and you can create some really beautiful results quickly, because our brains love patterns, and symmetry is one of those patterns where if we see a mirror kind of thing in a pattern in a drawing, it's interesting to our eyes, to our brains. So to do that, I'm going to go not to gallery. I'm going to go to the wrench icon up here and tap on canvas. And we're going to turn on the drawing guide. And by default, it creates a grid. But I want to edit the drawing guide and turn from a 2D grid over to symmetry, and I can change some of the things like the thickness of the line, the guideline that's in the middle. I can change the opacity of that line, and I can even change the color of the line up here. So when I'm good with all that, I can also move this line around and make it horizontal instead of vertical. I'm fine with how it is. So with our symmetry line in place, I'm thinking maybe this bug is going to be a butterfly. Now certainly I'm going to pick one of my favorite pens up here. I bought these brushes from BJDL. He's a guy that's it's on YouTube, and he does a lot of really cute drawings and stuff. But he's got this brush pack of his inker and streamline inkers. I think he sells them for like $5, so doesn't cost very much. And it's you could create these same brushes yourself. I mean, every brush that is in Procreate, you can recreate using the brush settings. So there's nothing magical about brushes that you download off the internet or buy from someone. You could recreate those yourself if you just take the time and start from a starting point of like the technical pen that comes with Procreate. I just, I like this guy's opinions on what a brush should look like and do. And, that's been my go-to brushes for a while now. Is this, especially this bold inker streamline. All right. And my style, I typically do line art with black. So I'll start with that. And as I talked about, I've got this symmetry thing turned on. And, I can, whatever I draw on one side, it mirrors it on the other, which is really cool. You can do some really interesting effects with that quickly. So you could do a rough sketch, rough idea of a butterfly. I'm going to undo all that using the 2-finger tap to undo. And one thing that I do with almost every drawing is I find some reference photos. Something, I can sometimes draw from just pure imagination and memory of things, but oftentimes I like to, at least go and look at some other drawings that people have done just to see if there's anything, that I hadn't thought of that I would like. So I will go to Google and let's say search for butterfly illustration and go to images, and there's going to be just tons and tons of things, and you can see that some of these are already, very much symmetrical. That, that's the nature of butterflies is they, if you look at them straight up and down, they have a lot of symmetry to them, and their veining and so forth. So these are great, but this is not really the look that I'm going for. So maybe instead of searching for butterfly illustration, I'll search for butterfly cartoon. And that will give me maybe a little more of what I'm thinking of, like this character here. And there's a lot of things I can take away from this that I hadn't really thought of. Got to remember to do the antennas for the butterfly. So there's like this main wing, and then there's a secondary wing. and a three-part body. And there's probably other details, but for a cartoon, you don't need a whole lot of realism. You just need to make something that looks recognizable as um, a butterfly or whatever it is that you're drawing. So I'm not going to copy that in. Well, maybe I will. Maybe I'll just go ahead and um, copy that image, and then I'll come back to Procreate, and I will paste that in here. I'll make it small, and I'll stick it up in the corner as a reference. So just kind of remind me of one example of the kind of thing that I want to draw. All right, so we'll start with line art. The way I usually do things is I'll create several layers, and I'll take that top layer as my line art layer, and I need to turn on drawing assist so that my drawing guide and the symmetry thing will work. So with drawing assist turned on, maybe I'll go ahead and add another layer above that with drawing assist, and I'll start with a sketch. So instead of just inking right off the bat, the typical approach to drawing anything is to first flesh out an idea using a sketch. So I'll come down to the sketching pens, and gosh, I don't know. Maybe we'll try the Procreate pencil. Yeah, that'll work. And I'll maybe come up with an idea for the head. I think we want the head to be more of a circle. And maybe it's too high, maybe it's too big. We'll see. I'm going to use the move tool up here where I can tap on that and move it down some. I want to leave room for the wings. And yeah, I think it might be too big for what we want to do. So I'll try to center that back up. And then, let's see. Something like that. I don't know if we'll do like a 3-segmented body. Maybe we'll just do one big body like that, about that size. And then there's like a secondary wing, or I don't know what there's probably I'm sure there are technical terms for all these things that I'm just not aware of. And then on looking at the artwork that's in Animal Crossing, not the bugs themselves, but the people and the animals that are, the characters that are in Animal Crossing. They've got a specific kind of shapes to eyes. Some of them are kind of squarish with round. Some of them have, these kind of arcs with a little bit of a shelf or something. And then the eyes themselves are usually, like looking off to the side. Now I can't draw both eyes at the same time looking off to the side, because then it would just look kind of cross-eyed. So what I'll do is I'll turn drawing assist off, or maybe what I'll do is I'll create another layer above this. Turn drawing assist back on for the other layer, and I'll draw one eye the way that I want it, and then I will duplicate that eye and move it over to match the other side. Okay, and then you can use 2 fingers to pinch and merge 2 layers together. It's a little bit hard. I've got, I don't have huge fingers, but sometimes it's a little difficult to make that work with just 2 layers. But staying on this layer so that I don't have drawing assist turned on, maybe I will draw like a bead of sweat somewhere. Like that. All right, let's go back to the assisted layer and try a mouth. Let's see. That's not what I want. Or maybe I don't want something that's smiling. If we want to have an anxious looking bug, maybe instead of smiling, let's see, what does an anxious looking mouth look like? Maybe it's turned upside down. Maybe like that. I don't know. I still want it to look, the goal is to make it look cute or adorable or something like that. I don't, what else? Maybe like that would work. Yeah, I think that'll work. And then, let's see, maybe the body has some lines here. I don't know, some butterflies have these circle looking things. Just looking at that reference photo. And then there's some veins, or I'm not sure what you call them, that come out, that make up part of that. So I think that's pretty good for the sketch. So I'll come up here to my other layer. Maybe I'll go ahead and combine these 2 sketch layers together, and then I'll bring down the opacity of that sketch layer, and now I'll create my line art, still using black, but I'll switch to my my bold inker that I like. And then it's time to try to create a final looking. So what I'm doing here is I'm is I'm trying to use the quick shape feature in Procreate, where if you draw and then hold, it creates a shape. And if you like put a finger down, it creates a perfect circle. Same thing with like drawing a square. You can draw a square and move it around, but if you put a finger down, it draws a perfect square. Looks like I may have some buffering issues. Sorry about that. I don't know what may be going on with the buffering of the stream. I'm just going to continue on, hoping that the stream will pick up. All right, so that's the circle for my face. Let's draw a wing. Let's try that again. All right. Draw these little circles. And maybe a teardrop kind of shape. And then let's see. It looks like my stream has stopped, at least as I can see it. If you can still see me and hear me, could you let me know by putting something in the chat? That would be really great. All right, cool. So for whatever reason, it's just not working on my end. Maybe I'll restart it. Okay, and let's see, we got a little more detail to work out here. And maybe instead of wiggly lines, I'll just make them straight. Or not real wiggly or something. And now I can turn off the well, I'm not going to turn it off yet. I'm going to create another layer above and do the same kind of thing as before. Create a little drop of sweat, maybe another drop of sweat over here. right. Don't need our reference photo anymore, unless I want to use those same colors. So now comes the coloring part, and I'll take one of the layers underneath. I'll start with the one at the very bottom because I want to kind of build up layers on top of there. So I'll start with the one at the very bottom. I'll turn drawing assist on, and we'll lay down the very basic colors that we want. I do really like blue. Blue's one of my personal favorites. So maybe we will make a use blue throughout. So I'll start by kind of use this darker blue. And I can fill in any shape by dropping it, like dragging from the color over to the shape. So nice to take advantage of that. Maybe his body is his or her body is a lighter shade of blue, and just go ahead and make the head same shade of blue. And then on top of that layer, we'll add in some more color. So we'll make the eyes white, make this bead of sweat white, make the teeth white, make the tongue a pink color, make that the inside of the mouth a much darker blue. Maybe make the eyes that same dark blue. And maybe use that dark blue on these circles. So what I'll do is I'll turn drawing assist on. That way when I draw in one circle on one side, it, fills in the same on the other. Or I don't know, maybe a complementary color. What is a complementary color to blue? So we go to our harmony colors. We'll see that maybe in that blue family that red or yellow, orange, probably somewhere around orange. Yeah, I think orange will work well. So let's choose that. And we'll make these circles orange. And let's see, what about a shade for the inside of these wings? Maybe something closer to a purple would be cool. Let's see what that looks like. The nice thing about this is, if we don't like that, which I'm not too crazy about, you can easily pick something else, drag that on there, and boom, you've got another color. So let's see, maybe, yeah, I think that works. And now what I typically do is when I'm through, after I'm through coloring, then I want to start adding some shading. So I'll take one layer and I'll change that layer mode to multiply, and I'll get a gray, and let's imagine that there's light coming in from this side, and so it's creating a bit of a shadow on this side of the butterfly. So same kind of thing, it's casting a shadow like there. And oh, one thing I forgot is the antenna. So there we go. Another thing I like to do is on the layer very top above everything else, as I'll come in and I'll add some white to the eyes. So maybe 2 big ones here and 2 little ones above. And that just gives some depth to the eyes, makes the eyes more, I don't know, realistic or something. All right, let's go back to the shadow layer, go back to that gray, and I want to add some shadow inside the mouth, like a little bit of shadow on the tongue. Let's add some shadow under the head. And let's see, anything else? Maybe here. That's good. And then similarly, I'll add another layer above that for highlights. And I'll change this layer to soft light and use white. And just do kind of the opposite. So on the opposite side, I'll add just a little bit of highlights. Just wherever I feel like. Wherever I feel like, gosh. I think that's all. All right. Now we got all of that in there. I'm going to declare that the bug itself is complete. And so what I'd like to do is, the bug is taking up the entire image at the moment. So there's a couple of things I could do. One is I could shrink the whole thing to make room for like some text. Or another thing I like to do is to tap and drag across to group all of these things. And I'll tap on the group there, which creates a group, and I'll rename it to whatever, and we'll just call it butterfly. That way I've got everything in that layer. I can show and hide that layer if I want to. So one thing I I do sometimes is I will take that layer, or all those layers that were selected, and I will tap and hold and drag those onto the top, which but essentially creates a copy of everything that we just did. So I'll take out the sketch layer. And same as before when I showed you that you could take two layers and pinch and merge them together, you can do that for lots of layers. So I'll take and pinch all these together, and it creates one image of everything all together. So I'm going to turn off both of those, and you can see that I have one that is now just this character, and then I can move that character around, do whatever I want to with it. And see, it's separate from the original drawing. And that way, if I want to change the original drawing, if I see something that I want to do differently, then I still have all those in separate layers that I could then, repeat those steps and go through that process. Another thing I like to do, in this case, I'm using this is a square canvas, and I want to add some text to the final illustration, and I don't want to use, I don't want the final illustration to be square. So another thing that I will do is I'll just uncheck this background color. And if I uncheck the background color, and now everything's gray, the whole canvas and everything is the same as the background of the app, I can export this under Share as a PNG. And what that will do, and I'll save that to my camera roll, what that will do is create a transparent PNG file that I can then import into, back into Procreate under a separate drawing, or into another tool like Affinity Designer, which has, a lot more capabilities around text. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my gallery. I'm going to add a new drawing, and this time I'm going to use one of my other canvas types, which is a social image. And then I'll insert a photo from my camera roll. And now I've got plenty of space over here where I can add some text. So still using the bold streamline, I'm going to write out, maybe I'll use the standard. Not a bug. So just going back over some of these letters to make them a little more bold, a little more visual character. let's see. And I think that may be all that I want to do with this. I know I gotta in the when I post this on social media, I'm going to use the hashtag TechDoodle. And I'll use the regular standard inker to add my signature. All right, that's pretty much it. Any questions or comments or anything regarding this drawing? Anything you would like to see me add or do differently? Maybe I'll come in here and clean up a little bit of these letters. I could draw some kind of cartoon bubble around that. Yeah, that works. All right, folks. Well, I think that's going to be it for today. I hope you had a good time watching. Hope you enjoyed this and maybe learned a few tips and tricks about using Procreate. I try to share, my techniques and things that I do when I draw. Kind of hopefully give you some of my thought process as I'm drawing these things, so that maybe you can take some of these and ideas and apply them yourself. I love the symmetry features that's in Procreate. It makes it just really quick and easy to come up with really neat looking designs. Again, our brains really lock in on those symmetrical features, and it makes it more visually interesting. I'll post this on Twitter and Instagram later. If you're not already following me there, same handle, Reverent Geek. And until next time, I hope you have an awesome day. I hope you have a blessed week and that you get out there and you be awesome. Until next time, see you again. Have a great day.